Hello students, and welcome to Bio 100. I'm really excited that you're in my class. The purpose of this video is less for introductions, we'll do that in class, but more for I want to go through all the nitty-gritty of the course. This is the boring part and I don't want to spend class time doing this, so I'll try to be as fast as possible. You're only going to see my face right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and splice it together with just showing you this stuff. So we'll see you in class, but watch the rest of this video. Okay, first things first, I'd like you to explore. If you just have a minute, this will only take a minute. What I'd like you to do is go get a mirror, or it can be like from a compact or whatever, and I want you to, while only looking in the mirror, so you cannot look down, it helps to sort of put it up by your forehead, only looking in the mirror, I want you to draw the shapes you see on the screen and write your name, and this is important, so that it appears correctly in the mirror. Okay, so I want you to just pause for just a second and try to do that right now. Okay, so hopefully you had a chance to do that, and hopefully you saw that it was really hard. Now, maybe some of you are really great, and that means you're going to make an awesome dentist or something. But for most of us, this is a really hard task, and I want you to think about why. Why is this so difficult to do? And I wish I could hear your responses, but you're probably thinking, well, I've got muscle memory. I've always learned it the other way, and in the mirror, it was sort of backwards. And so it made it really hard. Did you ever find yourself sort of frustrated, wanting to yell at your hand? What's wrong with you? Why can't you do this? It's really hard for your brain to relearn something that you've learned a different way before. So my question is, had I shown you a PowerPoint ahead of time that said this, that vertical positions are opposite, so moving the pencil up and down is opposite, however, horizontal positions are consistent, so moving the pencil right and left. So to write your name, it's going to be vertically inverted, but the letters will be in the same order. Do you think that would have helped you do it? I mean, if you don't believe me, you could pause right here and try it. I'll bet you it doesn't help. I'll bet you still that the first move you make will be wrong. And so it makes me wonder, is PowerPoint even effective? Well, it can be if it's used correctly. But the point is, you're not a blank slate. You're not an empty bucket into which I can pour information. You have to be able to learn through experience. And this is a little bit technical. Don't memorize this or anything, but this is called equilibration theory, and it's a learning theory. And there's two parts to it. There's assimilation, which is just incorporating new information that you've never seen before. So when you first learn to write, it's hard, but it's not as hard as accommodation. Accommodation is when you already have something in your brain and you have to replace it with something new. And this requires cognitive conflict. You have to see that, oh gosh, what I was thinking or what I was doing is not quite right, and I'm going to try something new. And the process is really difficult. So the question is, how many of you think that you might have some preconceptions about biology, that you might know something or think you know something about biology? Hopefully all of you are thinking, of course, because hopefully all of you have been outside and seen a tree or something else. And we all live with ourselves and we're very much biological. So we have all kinds of ideas, and some of them are right, but some of them are very wrong, and we're going to have to do accommodation. And so the reason I tell you all of this is it will explain why I teach the course the way that I do. Okay, so let's talk about this course and what it looks like and how I teach it. So first, just required supplies. There is a student packet. It is available hard copy in the bookstore if you want it, just for the cost of printing, or it's available online in both Word and PDF format. I don't care what format you use, whatever is easiest for you to use to take notes, but you must have it available to you every day in class, because I will refer to it quite often and you will need to use it. But you do not need to follow, or you do not need to turn it in. So you don't need to have a hard copy if you don't want one. And I'll show you where to find that on Canvas. We need a smart device to take quizzes. So every day when you come into class, you'll take a quiz, just real short, but it needs to be accessed via the internet. So you need a phone or a tablet or a computer. If you don't have one, please come talk to me. We'll see what we can do. And then a pencil and scratch paper. This is biology. We do a lot of drawing. If you can draw using an Apple Pencil on your tablet or whatever, you can totally do it that way, but scratch paper and pencil might be really useful. I do have a textbook that I recommend. We do not need the textbook. It is not required. All the information you need for the class and for tests are available in the course materials that I have created. But if you want some supplemental reading, If you get confused, if you like to hear a different perspective, this is the textbook that I recommend. You can get it online. There's a couple of ways to get it, and on your booklist.byu.edu, it will tell you how to get it. Also, I have provided a notes guide packet that's in Canvas. I'll show you. You will do an assignment before every class, and if you want a packet to sort of guide your notes, you could use that, and I'll show you where that is. Okay, so how do I teach this class? So going to sort of learning theory, there are two steps to learning. First is when you attain the content. So it's kind of like learning all the terms and the definitions and the concepts. And then the second part is concept application. And this is where you apply what you've learned to like new situations so that it isn't contextually specified. And so in a normal classroom environment, you might go to class, learn the content through a lecture by the professor, and then you would go home and do like a homework assignment where there's a bunch of practice problems, that concept application. Now, in our class, we're actually going to use the 5E learning cycle, and we're going to use the flipped approach. So in the flipped approach, you actually do your content attainment before coming to class. So you have sort of a quote unquote classroom lecture before you come to class, and then in class we do all those practice problems that you would normally do at home. I think it's really fun. I've actually done a lot of research on this, and it is a really exceptional way to learn. So the 5E learning cycle means that we will get you excited, so you'll do engage, explore, and explain at home. It'll be some crazy scenario that you'll explore on your own. You'll enter in your answers directly into Canvas. I will introduce terms to you and clarify content, so when you come to class, you should have a basic understanding of the topic. And then in class, we will elaborate on that. We'll apply the content to novel situations, we'll build your understanding better, and then evaluate is the testing part, which we'll talk about. So what does this actually look like in our classroom? So before you come to class, I have designed these activities to take approximately the same amount of time as a class period. So they should take you about 50 minutes to complete. So I would leave myself at least an hour to complete the pre-class assignments. You'll do one before every class period. And I do have a textbook reading schedule if you want to follow along in the textbook, if you feel like that helps you. And then you'll come to class, and the very first thing you'll do when you walk in is you'll open up a little quiz. It's 4 questions, it's multiple choice. It's just over the basic content you should have learned in the pre-class activity. I have you take the first attempt by yourself, closed book. Just test yourself and see how much you really gained from the pre-class. And then you get one more attempt that's open book, open note, open neighbor, open internet, open instructor, open TA, whatever you need to get 100% on it. And that's just to get us all on the same page for what we're going to talk about. And then we will do this big class activity where we'll elaborate and apply the material. And then I would encourage you to go see TAs if you need help, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Right, so you'll do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, etc. throughout the unit. And then at the end of the unit, we have a review day in class where the instructor, I'm there, and the TAs are there, and we put up the learning outcomes for that unit, and we make sure you don't have any questions. It is a voluntary day, but I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you come. Research has shown that those students who do attend do better in the class. And then we also have a how to study video, which I will show you. And then you're going to go into the testing center and take the exam. The exams are all multiple choice, but they are higher level, higher order thinking, so they're going to be creative problem solving rather than regurgitation of terms and definitions. So I'll show you the learning outcomes, and I'll show you what I mean by that. You'll take the exam. It is open book, open note, but because it's in the testing center, you'll need to print out whatever notes you want to bring with you. You can't do digital in the testing center. So you need to print out whatever you want, but you can bring whatever you want into it. Like I said, it's not terms and definitions, so writing down all the terms and definitions is not super helpful. It's more problem solving, but if you want to bring in example problems or things from the class that we did, that might be great. You take the exam, let's say you get an 87%. Then we hold exam review sessions with TAs. If you go and review your exam and what you got wrong, you get an automatic 5% back on the exam, 92. Woohoo! Okay. So looking at the grade breakdowns, we do have, let me just get all those in there. The research surveys, these are just periodic research surveys that I have you do, including the first one that's the LCTSR, which I'll show you on Canvas. That's worth 5% of your grade. Excuse me, the stuff that you do at home is worth 25% of your grade. The little quizzes that you take in class are 15%. So all of that is just participation. Come, do what I've asked you to do what I've asked you to do before class, And the homeworks, by the way, are graded based on effort. They're not graded based on accuracy because you're exploring. So there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. It's just doing them and showing effort. And the TAs will check it for effort. So by participating alone in the class, that's almost half of your grade. And then the other half of your grade is assessments. So we have 5 exams and a final exam. I also have a life happens policy or cushion for the class, and that just means I understand that life happens. Sometimes things are out of your control and you can't do anything about it, and you miss a homework assignment or a quiz or even an exam. That's fine. It will automatically drop in Canvas. Canvas will automatically drop the lowest 1 for your research surveys, the lowest 5 pre-class assignments, the lowest 5 in class, and 1 exam. So if you miss an exam because you have some tragic circumstance or extenuating circumstance, that's your lowest grade and it will drop. You don't need to tell me, you don't need to explain, just let it drop. Or if you're just having a stressful day and you don't want to do the homework, just let it drop. No big deal, right? And so we don't drop the final, obviously. Okay, so we're going to visit Canvas here in just a second, and I'm going to show you the ins and outs of the class, and I'm going to try to go as fast as I can. This is our Canvas course. You get to Canvas by going to byu.instructure.com. If you go to Learning Suite, I've already put a link in there that will direct you here. So this is what it looks like. I'm looking at it in student view, so this should be what it looks like. If you go to course information, the very first thing and most important document is the learning outcomes. So if you click on this, you'll notice it is a Word document, and it goes through every single day of class and what you should be able to do every day of class, all the way to the end of the semester. So this is your best friend. This is something you should look at every day after class and say, did I learn this? Can I do this? This is what you should use to study for exams, etc. So for instance, if you're looking at day 10, you will want to be able to predict an outcome of natural selection given a set of circumstances, or hypothesize a potential cause of change in a population. Notice the verbs predict, hypothesize. So that doesn't mean define natural selection. That means, can you predict an outcome if I give you a set of circumstances? And that is exactly what the exam will look like. I will say, given this following circumstance, what do you predict will happen after so many generations if natural selection is at play? I mean, it's literally that aligned. So make sure you're paying attention to those. So that's the learning outcomes. Every time you need to navigate in this class, always click home. Do not count on these breadcrumbs. They are the worst. So go back home. Instructor information. This is just my information. TA bios and office hours. This is a really great place to find help. So if you go into there, it's going to talk about your TAs, but it's also going to have a link to this document right here, which the TAs will fill in, where they will put, first of all, their office hours. So these are just open hours where you can go ask for help. The post-exam extra credit sessions, so if you want that extra credit. And then they will also hold a weekly review each week that's just a more structured review environment where they go through just the learning outcomes for that week. And so those will be filled in once the TAs get their schedules figured out. That's in TA bios and office hours. This is some information for the textbook. These are the student packets, or this is the student packet. There's a Word version and a PDF version. I don't know if there's a better version for digital devices, but let me know. And is there anything I can do to make it easier? Let me know. This is the schedule, so if you're just wondering when exams are, what days we're covering what, that's right here. This is the textbook readings, so if you do get the supplemental textbook, it'll tell you where we are in the book. And then this is the exam schedule. So it's just the same thing on the schedule, but if you want just the exams and when they're taking place, get them on your calendar, there they are. So that's under course information. In critical help for success in this course, this is this video. So you don't obviously need to click on that again if you're watching this, but if you have a friend that adds late, have them click on this. This is my how to study module. It's just a little video that I made talking about how to use the learning outcomes. And then this is a more complex one that a colleague of mine made. There's a really cool guy, Dr. Chu, who does a lot of like helping you be metacognitive about how you study. So it's a really great thing you can do if you want. These are just frequently asked questions. Feel free to browse those. These are my PowerPoints. I don't PowerPoint very often, but if I do, and you missed class or whatever, they are available here. Or if you want them ahead of time, they're all available. They don't change much, so I've already got them in there. Like I said, I don't PowerPoint much, but when I do, that's where they are. But this here is the board pictures. So every day of class, the TAs will take a picture of the board and upload it here. So if you do miss class, this is a great place to go to look and see what you missed. Okay, so that's the critical help. Now, the very first thing I want you to do, it is your first assignment, is to take this LCTSR. It's called the Lawson's Classroom Test of Scientific Reasoning. It's kind of like a science IQ test. And if you read this right here, it'll explain why I have you take this. Everyone will get credit if you do your best and attempt it. It's closed book, closed note. Don't try to cheat. There's not really a way to cheat, but it's kind of like an IQ test, right? So I want you to take that, and then if you feel like, oh, I really need to improve these skills, there's this really cool app that can help you with that. Anyway, read this, do this. It's due by the ad drop, right after the ad drop deadline. Okay, so every day before you come to class, so remember, give yourself at least an hour. Hopefully they don't even take you that long, but they are designed to take about 50 minutes. Every day before class, you're going to complete a pre-class assignment. Again, this is that packet I talked about. If you want a notes guide to help you know like what you should take pictures of or what you should write down from the pre-class, that's right here. So you're just going to go in and let's say it's on day 4, uncertainty and statistics. They're set up as a quiz, but there's unlimited attempts. It's just the only way. Oh, it's locked. Anyway, you're going to go into there, you'll start it, and you'll walk through an activity that'll help prepare you for class. And the days where we have the exam reviews, there isn't one. So that's why day 5 doesn't have one, day 14 doesn't have one, etc. Okay, so that's where you find the pre-class. Then when you walk into class, there is an in-class quiz. So if you click here, when you click on this, and again, it's not going to be open yet because the class hasn't started, but you'll click right there. That's the little 4-question quiz that you're going to take on your own first, and then with a neighbor, friend, TA, instructor, internet, whatever. Okay, that's the in-class quiz. They're all the way to the end of the semester are right there. The exams are in the testing center, so there's nothing else on here. And I think that is it. I hope I did that really fast. You can go back and review this anytime. The syllabus is right here. I'm not going to go through it because, well, y'all can read. So you can read it. It has my policies on there, like my cheating policies and recording policies and ChatGPT policies and all of those things. Feel free to peruse there. My grading scale, that kind of thing. I think that's it. I'm so excited to meet all of you. It's going to be a great class. I just cannot wait. Okay, bye.